Hello, my name is Jeffrey Medora. I live in East Lyme, Connecticut, and I'm a victim of organized stalking. What I'd like to do in this video is give a brief introduction and describe the situation that I am experiencing. And I'm planning a series of videos as this situation unfolds. There's an ongoing investigation into this crime against myself and my home. An investigation by the FBI, and in addition to that, local police are involved and other state agencies. And as this investigation goes on, I believe more information will come out, and I'd like to bring that out here. My reason in doing so is I'd like to get my face out in public telling my story. This investigation by the FBI has gone on for a while, since last year sometime, and they tell me I need to be patient. While I'm being patient, the stalking continues. So I'd like to get my story out there and my face out there telling it. And as I move forward, I'll fill in more details about what has happened, the equipment that's being used to conduct surveillance upon myself, and what I've tried to do to defeat that equipment, to disrupt that equipment, to stop this from happening. And it's a complex and long journey, and a lot of pieces I have to tell about. But today, a brief introduction. I became aware in 2011 that I was being followed, that I was being stalked everywhere I went. And it wasn't long after that I became aware that electronics were being used. My background is electronics and radio communications. So the equipment that was being used against me to follow me is capable of, number one, surveillance. So I have no privacy anywhere I go, 24 hours a day. In addition to that, it's capable of disturbing the central nervous system, producing effects such as tremor, anxiety, depression, pain. And it does this by modulating the central nervous system. It does it by coupling the central nervous system with a microwave signal, an inductive coupling. And I'll describe more about that type of action in another video. The equipment that's being used, I understand, is made by a company called Tetra Systems, and the transducers that are used to follow me are model C104. And it's a very invasive piece of equipment. The people that I have accused of doing this are Electric Boat and Sunless. I made a formal accusation last fall when I found out the FBI was involved and they were investigating. I spoke with the chief of police in the town of Groton, who also informed me that it was indeed Electric Boat that is involved. So as I say, there's an ongoing investigation. Now, it's my belief that these types of programs that are conducted are for the purpose of human research. I'm a member of FFCHS, which stands for Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. They're an international human rights organization that recognizes this type of crime. And there are many members, both in this country and there are members outside this country, that are experiencing these events, that know that they're being followed, they know they're being stalked, they know electronics is being used on them. And I've talked to many of these people. And I can relate to what they're going through. So I believe this crime that I'm experiencing myself is something that is more popular than we know. You see, these types of electronic apparatus that can be used to affect the central nervous system, the effects that they cause, anxiety, depression, and pain, and other sensations like that, often mimic symptoms of mental illness. And in doing so, the victim is made to feel as if they're mentally ill. And then when they describe these symptoms to a healthcare provider, the healthcare provider then assigns a diagnosis of mental illness. They're placed on medication, quite possibly, put in some type of therapy. They now have a psychiatric diagnosis, when in fact, they're not sick at all. They're part of a program, a human research program, and they're being followed and monitored, and their lives are being torn down. Now, personally, I have experienced a number of events in my life, in these past few years especially, that I did not precipitate. Events such as involuntary committals by the police, search and seizures that were unnecessary and unwarranted. When I say unwarranted, one came with a warrant but without probable cause, without evidence that should give the police the authority to come in your home and search. Wrongful detention, wrongful arrests, manipulation of the criminal justice system such that I can't get relief. I'm currently fighting 2 arrests from 2012. I've been to court 38 times and counting, and I've just been placed on the trial list. These are arrests where there was not sufficient evidence really to bring about the arrest, but I'm still fighting. So I made these accusations formally, that these police actions, as well as manipulation of the criminal justice system, has been brought about by those that have been stalking me and seeking to tear down my life, seeking to give me a psychiatric diagnosis, seeking to give me a criminal record, all of these things. Now, as I talk to other victims, I find that I see a picture. I think these programs of human research, they like a person that is resourceful and motivated. They like to take a person and knock them down and watch them get back up. And they record that data. And they knock them down again and they watch them get back up. And they record that data. Ultimately, they get to a point where that person's life is so torn down that they don't get back up. And at that point, they start yielding little to no useful data. And it's my understanding at that point they're often driven into suicide, such that they won't unwind and normalize again and maybe be able to tell the story. Well, you see, my story is a little bit different because those that are assaulting me, I have identified. And I don't know where the authorities are right now. I mean, as far as what they're doing to bring them to justice. But I have to believe that they will be brought to justice. I do believe that this will come out. And if it does come out, it is my prayer that people in other places that are being stalked will gain relief, because it will help validate their claims. What I would like to see is my suffering, I'd like to see something good come from my suffering. And I would like that good to be that other people are alleviated from the pain of this crime. So I would ask people, be watchful of what's happening here in Connecticut. right here in Connecticut. This is East Line Police, the FBI. I believe the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services is involved in quite possibly investigating this. The courtroom at GA10 in New London has been violated by those that stalk me perpetually every time I'm there, which carries ramifications of itself. That mind-altering equipment is being pointed through the courtroom wall at me. And I certainly wouldn't want to be one in that courtroom looking for a decision to be made regarding my life and having some person pointing mind-altering equipment through the wall. The ramifications are huge. So people, be watching what's happening here in Connecticut. Make note of it. I am hoping that when my case comes out, that enough commotion will be raised, that people will see that these types of weapons exist. Weapons that can both extract and place information in the central nervous system to affect a person, to steal their privacy, as well as exhibit some degree of control. I've seen them demonstrated to me over and over. I know they exist, and I see people suffering from them, and I talk to them all the time. So I would like to see these weapons, I will call them weapons, I would like to see them classified as that. I cannot see any use for them, any good use in society for equipment that does that. So I would like to see them illegal to possess, with significant penalties for possession. And if used against another person, very extreme penalties. Because I don't think you can violate a person more than to violate their very central nervous system, their very mind, to steal what's there and to place something there artificially, attempting to control, and ultimately bringing on torment and torture that leads to death. I don't think you can commit a worse crime against the human than human research. And I think we all need to look at what's happening here in Connecticut. And I'm praying that these people will be brought to justice and that this crime will come out in the open and that legislation can be passed to prevent it from happening again. And should that happen, I'm hoping other states will see what's happening here and follow suit. As I've said, there will be more. I will follow up this video with more information about what has happened to me. Thank you.